Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. I think my starting screen is messing up. I'm hoping my computer doesn't blow up. I'm trying to run something in the background. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah, audio is good. Let's go. All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Um, Let me see if I can just add my link to let people know we're streaming. All right, streaming now. Copyright free music. So it's actually the background music of Monster Hunters, which I'll explain why that's the case. But it is copyright free because it's from a video game. So that's kind of lit. And it's easy as background music. It's very peaceful. Or at least I think it's copyright safe. I'm pretty sure. You can hear it? Okay. All right. I think my back. Okay, there I am. Hello, hello. I am very overexposed. Hold on. Maybe I can edit this a little bit. Brightness, exposure. Drop that one notch. Yo, early today. It's around normal time. I think I actually start 30 minutes earlier normally. Or I guess Vishwajit. I think you're in India, right? So it's around 9 in the morning. Oh, you can't hear the background music? I think it's very quiet. I don't want it to be too loud. Let me see if I turn this up. Hear it a little bit better. You've been waiting for this for a while. Hello, hello. Well, I'm glad you're here. I know I didn't stream last week. I got a little too busy. I was trying to make all the samurai tutorials because I need to finish this entire tutorial before I leave for the origami convention on Thursday. So, I have basically 1 week to finish it. And that's why this stream, we are going to be working on the tutorial. I know that the title is like the tutorial on how to make tutorials, but I am going to kind of use this as like hitting two birds with one stone, where I'm both showing or I'm making the tutorial, and also you guys get to kind of see the behind the scenes of like just a little bit of my workflow, especially for these tutorials. Tutorials, while they require less like editing, there's a lot of thought process that kind of goes into making these, as well as for a shaping tutorial, which is way harder than a folding tutorial. There'll be a lot of downtime. So actually, that brings us to our stream schedule today. So primarily, we're going to be working on the tutorial when we can. And when we can't, we'll be jumping between a few different activities to kind of make things exciting. So that'll be like the members origami review, the Discord review. There's been some funny origami memes. And then if like all else fails, or I really need something to dry for a long period of time, we're jumping into Monster Hunters a little bit. And hopefully y'all think it's okay. But I think later on with my streams, if I'm doing shaping in particular, I think it would be cool to have some sort of game, not necessarily a video game, but something that's a bit more interactive with you guys. So I was really trying to find like, oh, is there an easy way that I could play someone in chess that's in the chat, like really quick, like one quick game, and then I go back to shaping. We keep going. Next time we have a pause, I pick someone else from chat. I couldn't really find a good way to do that without, I need to just work, like just try to think of maybe it's not even chess too, because chess can take a while, but some sort of like quick game, whether it's like tic-tac-toe, something like that. And that'd be fun. But maybe I could even code it on my web server My web server's down right now, so I can't use that at the moment. But that's the idea. I think it'd be pretty fun. Busy Boyce, yeah. Boyce is busy. Monster Hunter Rise is fun. With whom am I busy? I'm busy making the tutorials for you guys and preparing for the origami convention. But yeah, no, it's great. I'm glad you guys are here. It's always fun to just talk with the community, share my thoughts on origami, hear what you guys are working on. And yeah, I hope y'all are enjoying the Square Twist Samurai series so far. I think I've been doing the tutorials pretty quick. You know, it took a little bit of a while for the first one to come out, but then after that, like the next one, the collapse tutorial is a 4-hour long tutorial. But I made that in like 1.5 weeks, and then the shaping only took like a few days after that. And then this one, which is the more intensive shaping tutorial, this one's gonna take a little bit. But it's also right now I filmed I think 2.5 or like I think yeah 2.5 hours of tutorial so far. And let me show you where we are. We're only up to here, right? This is after 2.5 hours of shaping footage. So we've got a little bit of ways to go. But hello. What's up, Masisa? What's up, Vishwajit? Chess with me. Yeah, I'll work on what ideas I have. You know, it might not be chess. It might be chess. It'd have to be like Blitz or something like that. I'm not that good at chess, but it'd be fun. Benny, I'm collapsing the samurai into stick. Nice, you're partway through. That's always a nice sequential route. Tic-tac-toe with me. Yeah, I'll try to figure that out. I think it'd be fun, right? It sounds like you guys would be interested, you know, if you just hop in a game, be part of the stream for a little bit. It'd be fun. Where can I find a crease pattern for the sword and shield? It's on my website. If you just scroll through, there's like a gallery tab and it'll be on there. It's not too hard to find. Demjin, hello. Welcome in. Update on the Square Twist Samurai. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're almost there. So we're going to try to get a lot done during this stream. And then tomorrow, I'm going to try to do a whole bunch. So that way, Sunday, I'll be able to finish whatever I have left, edit it, get it uploaded. And then I need to prepare for the Origami Convention. So the Origami Convention coming up, it's Origami. So it's at MIT, which is pretty fun. If you guys don't know what MIT is, it's a pretty prestigious university in America. You know, I wasn't smart enough to get into it when I went to university. But hey, there's an origami convention there, and I get to go as an origami artist. So that's kind of lit. So I probably having more fun doing that than having to study at that school because it's a pretty difficult university. But one of the things I need to figure out is what models I should bring. So some of my models, like the Dragon Plate Armor Assassins, they're actually in San Francisco right now on display. So I don't have those with me. So if I move my head a little bit. Okay, actually I filled it in. But like there's a lot of models missing. Not a lot, but like 4 big ones that I would normally bring. Now, my current list, it's I've got Head Empty. I've got Lost Guardian because that's new. I want to bring Sarum because I think Sarum is a good model to bring. The new Square Twist Samurai. So I'm going to bring this Square Twist Samurai, which means I finished it in time. And then the DPA. So I have the Sword DPA. He's up there, but it's like pretty damaged because I didn't make the base good enough. So when it traveled back from New York, it fell off. Like the base is broken. The model's okay. I think I just need to reinforce it a bit more. But I have a question mark because I don't know if I have enough time to like print a new base with better supports. But if I have time, I'll bring that. But I don't know what else to bring. I'm not able to bring too much. But one idea I had was I have quite a few models from other people. So like I have gifts. I have models I've bought. If you watch my collection streams, you know I have models by Anise. I have a Bodo model, and Bodo is the special guest. This is from Mayunchi Origami. It's actually my Phoenix design, but he folded it as a person. So it's a Dark Phoenix from X-Men. So I think it'd be neat if I bring like my designs and then I bring Origami by Boyce's private collection of folds from other designers. I think that'd be pretty interesting, right? So if I have space, basically, then I'll bring those. But I want to make sure I bring them safely and be able to display them safely, because they're very valuable to me, and some of them cost me quite a lot of money too. So. But other than that, one thing I did finish, this is the last thing I'll talk about before we jump into filming the tutorial bit, is I finished my, this is from last stream. This is the Darkness Dragon. Or, sorry, the Dark Pocket Dragon that I was working on. So. This was from 2 weeks ago. I finally finished shaping it. We folded it all the way. We didn't really finish shaping it. But I think I did a decent job. I didn't go too crazy on it, but I curved out some of the back spikes. I gave the tail some pleats, you know, gave it a little curve. And then I tried to make the head. The head is like very delicate. If you do too much to it, it doesn't look good. Or like if you move the horns in the wrong way, it doesn't look good. So I just tried to look at the Darkness Dragon version 2 that Tadashi made and attempted to make it look as close to that as possible. It's not exactly perfect, but I think it's cool enough, right? The silhouette of the dragon is just very neat. So I think it's nice. We'll bring it on display for the class. Kian, I'm making a bunny girl right now. Oh, awesome. Hey, that's a pretty fun tutorial, actually. I think that design is pretty decent to fold. Head empty is still my favorite. Yeah, it's probably my favorite too. Boyce is one of the best origami folders. Thank you so much. Darkness Pocket Dragon is so cool. Yeah, it's cool and it's really fun to fold. So I'll be teaching it at the origami convention, and then probably after that I'll release the crease pattern publicly. So some of y'all might have seen it in the last stream, but I'll put it on my website after the convention. I don't think I'm going to make a tutorial for it because it's Tadashi Mori's design. I think he'd be okay with, like, he gave me permission. I asked him on Instagram. He gave me permission to teach at the convention. He'd probably let me make a tutorial on it too. But like 90% of the tutorial is the same Pocket Dragon tutorial. It's just like with the Darkness Dragon head, which he also has a tutorial on for the Darkness Dragon. So I don't think there's really a need for me to make a tutorial. Once you have the crease pattern, you just follow the Pocket Dragon tutorial, and then you follow the Darkness Dragon tutorial for just the head. And it's there you go. Right, it's already been made. What's up, Silverio? Hello. Where can I buy it? Origami State? Amazon. That's right. I have links for them on my website. Go to resources. Not these ones specifically because they sold out, but there's a different one that I use, which actually looks a little bit nicer. It doesn't have these bubbles in them, so you can find that on my website. All right, so let's get started, I think. I actually was filming this earlier today. Right now, this side part is drying, so it's probably not fully dry yet, but basically this wet folding tutorial is a hybrid of using glue and methyl cellulose, so it makes everyone happy, right? So if people don't want to use glue because they're anti-glue for whatever weird reason, it's fine. But I show how to use methyl cellulose, and basically you could do everything with methyl cellulose. Now, I think that's only a small amount of people. Most people will probably be shaping with glue and not methyl cellulose because this is a lot easier to find. And basically, the steps I use methyl cellulose for, you could just water down your glue and use that instead, or just glue it because it's glue, right? It's easy. So at least it kind of has something for everyone, depending what kind of wet folding or wet shaping techniques you prefer or feel comfortable with. What is methylcellulose? If you don't know what methylcellulose is, you should watch my ultimate paper guide because I explain it there. I'm in India. We can't get it on Orga. Oh, I don't know where the stands could be sold from Amazon India, but you can look up action figure display stand. You know, maybe I'll have a look later if I get back into Amazon India. If not, you can make your own out of wires or paper clips. But these ones in particular are from Japan. So I don't know if they ship to India from Japan, but you can check. We can't get in Origami in India. Origami India, I guess. I think that's what you're trying to say. You might be able to find a different version, Kian. Because, like, I'm pretty sure there's action figures sold pretty much in every country now. So if you find an action figure display stand, like, they should have those too. It's literally just plastic, right? There's nothing that special about these. So I'm pretty sure if you search for it, you can find it. But again, maybe I'll check it later, not during the stream. So just sit tight or Google it yourself and try to find it. Yeah. So to basically, actually, let me mute Monster Hunter background noise for a bit because we don't want the game noise in the background while we're filming the tutorial. But yeah, let's get started. I know it's a little bit weird. Normally I have like alerts and chat on this screen as well as my face. Right, like normally I'm here. Hello. For the tutorial, I've been filming it like this. So we're just gonna like start it like this. But I think for the tutorial, I'm gonna start working on the neck, and we'll get mostly through the neck, I think. Oh, I'm trying to think. Because to do the neck, we kind of need to do the face. Okay, I think we're going to do a little bit of the face and then the neck. And then we'll have some time where it needs to dry. And then we'll work from there. Is there any tutorial for sword and shield? Because I really want to follow, but I'm not sure about shaping. I've mentioned in multiple posts that I'll be making a sword and shield tutorial later. So after I'm done with this one, I can only make one tutorial at a time. So hold tight. Please be patient. It'll come out eventually. What position is the STS going to be? It's pretty much going to be the same as the original one, just because I think that's what people see, and that's the easiest for me to do a tutorial on. Obviously, you can do any pose you want, but if you do a different pose, that's on you, right? Which I more so encourage people to do their own pose. I don't really like it when people exactly copy me because I want people to be creative, not copy. But hey, sometimes it's fine to copy a cool pose like this too. But at least for the tutorial, it'll just be like this. Do you know where I can get some good Wenjo consistently? Recently, I've ordered a few. They're not too good. I honestly have no idea. I've totally stopped buying Wenjo because I can't find any sources either. Silverio, it's really sad. I've only been relying on this Hiromi Kozo mix because it's close, and I pretty much don't need to use anything else except Legion. Like Legion mulberry paper, this stuff is really good. But it's a little bit smaller. This paper doesn't get as big. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a good source. Make origami for Mr. Beast. I don't know about that one right now. I think he's got to figure out his own problems if I ever want to get involved with him. And I'm also way too small to ever be involved with him. Do you know I have made a new model on Indian mythology? Nice, on the shorts. All right, good job, dude. That's cool. I'm glad you're designing. Let's go. Okay, so I am going to take a little break from reading chat. I'm going to focus in and zone in on this tutorial aspect. So you guys will kind of get to see a little sneak peek on the tutorial, but this is just kind of some background information on what I think about as I'm making it. And then after I'm done, like feel free to keep chatting and asking questions, but I'll get to your questions afterwards. I won't do it in the middle of the tutorial. So just have some, just be aware. Don't spare messages. Be a little patient, and then we'll get to it. All right. Let me get all my stuff ready. And let me just test the recording. All right. We are now recording. So what I like to do for editing is I do like a 3, 2, 1 start, and then in my video editing app, it like helps me chop the clip into the right place. But okay. 3, 2, 1 start. All right, we're back, and I've taken the clip off of this side. It's kind of dried. It's not as dry, but I think we can move on from, working on it so that we can focus on the next section, which we're going to do part of the face more so to secure it. And we need to do that so that we can do the neck. I think if we do the neck first, it's going to prevent us from doing some more work on the face. So we'll just do some small things on the face. We don't have to do too much yet. But what I'm going to use is the glue, or my PVA here. And right, you can see how the layers are very spread out for the face right now. We just want them to sit nicely together. Ideally where the proportion should be, so that we don't have to mess with it later. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is between this face layer here, I'm going to add some glue, and this is going to make it a bit more rigid, right? That way when we start moving the neck around, it won't be pulling so hard on this layer because it'll be secured. So just a little bit more so on the chin area. And I'm just pinching that back down. And then the other area we can actually put some glue is right underneath the nose. This is part of the mask, so we can add a little bit of glue here, right? And with that, I'm going to press down kind of on the corners to hold this in place. And I just want it to start sticking. It might not fully set because some of the layers behind it will also start to lift as I am working on it. But we'll get this to start setting. And that way, when we move other parts, it'll be okay. And we're doing this because when we use methyl cellulose for the neck, we're going to have to shift a lot of the layers upwards so that we don't have this big gap between the helmet and the visor. And that'll help us a little bit. Okay, so it's not like fully dried here, but I think that's okay. And then I'm also like in the corners of where I've made the eyes, I'm going to add a little bit of glue too. Again, just to kind of secure it. Just a little bit. I don't want it to leak out. I don't want any residue. So we're just adding a little bit here. And kind of same thing. I can press in the same positions here. Get it to dry. And we'll keep working. All right, so yeah, there'll still be more adjusting later. That's just kind of how it works when we work on the face, but we're gonna move on from our glue to the methyl cellulose. And that's it right here. I'm gonna pour quite a decent amount of methyl cellulose here. I don't know if you can see it. Right. And we will be putting quite a bit in this neck area. So I think, yeah, just all the layers above the neck should be fine. We don't need to get it too far into the shoulder, but we can. I think that'd be okay. The nice thing with methyl cellulose is even if it dries, we can re-wet it and change it if we need to change something. So in case we mess up or need to adjust things later, This should help us. But I'm going to try to get at least a little bit into each layer here, which I know in the past we haven't exactly done each layer, but the neck is going to have a lot of tension. So we're going to need to add a lot of methylcellulose. The only layer I'm not really going to put it on is the outside layers. So like I'm not going to put it here. Not yet, at least. I might put it there later, but it'll be after we've positioned the neck a bit more. So that's the right side. And I'm going to just try to squeeze all the layers together for now, just to kind of get them to compress. Right. Okay, and I think this layer where the chin is, let's leave that not, I know I put some methylcellulose here, but let's leave that open because this is the one where we're going to sink everything down into. So let's just keep the layers like this. Obviously you're not sticking because it's methylcellulose, but just trying to get them to compress a little bit. And then add methylcellulose to the other side. And try to get in most of the layers. I might miss, one or two, but that's more so because I'm working on this tutorial. I think if you take your time, which I recommend you to take your time, try to get every layer. All right. So I think I got most of the layers. And we can see where we can compress these layers as well. And once again, I'm leaving the layer where the face, right? You see how there's like a gap where the face is? I'm gonna leave that layer untouched for now. I might give it actually an extra layer here because I gave 2 layers on the front. So we're leaving a little bit of space right here. That way all of this can grip together. And this will also kind of loosen our shoulder a little bit. Our shoulder we're going to pose after because it's going to be torqued once we torque the neck. But for the neck, once I have all these layers together, what I'm going to try to do is basically add a mountain fold. That's kind of like a curve. Or maybe if we look from the back over here, it's going to be valley folds that is like right here and right here. It's not going to fully bend on this just because all the layers are so thick, but it will help us thin the neck down, or at least give a bit of direction for where the neck should be, just like this, right? So you see I'm kind of adding that mountain fold, and I can try to do it on both sides, and it will kind of give us a neck to grab onto here. Like this. I don't know how easy that is to see. Like that. All right, so now I'm almost able to grab it like this. And you can already see that it's also shrinking parts of the head down. And I'm going to leave it half like this for now because we need to adjust the helmet before we kind of let it dry. So I'm going to add some more methylcellulose now to the top part underneath the helmet. So there's like some layers here. I'm just going to try to feed my brush between some of these layers so that it'll collapse. I don't want to get the actual helmet wet at all because I want this to stay strong. It'll let us push against it without the paper collapsing. But all the surrounding parts, so this area, even in this area a little bit above the visor, I'm going to add some methylcellulose. I won't add any to the visor either because, again, I don't want that to get wet. But like this. And now this is kind of the difficult part. We need to reinforce the neck by holding it and without trying to mess up, without messing up the face too much. But then we need to bring basically this line down to the top of the visor. So if you look at the completed samurai, you can see how we've brought the helmet down to the visor. That is what we're going to want to do. And it's kind of like a weird squash in between all these layers, or just a swivel. But, you know, if the real answer is just to kind of smash it into place and let the paper figure out where it wants to go. See, I'm still doing it very gently. I'm just mainly pushing the helmet into where I think it should be, next to the visor. While bringing the face kind of up with trying not to mess up the face, right? Something like this. Something like this. And then now that it's like, again, everything is kind of half folded at this point, I want to make sure that the chest armor doesn't get folded on. So now I'm going to put my thumb to reinforce it as I start to press on the layers in front to form that neck. Right, so you see how we're forming the neck now? Pressing that all at the same time underneath the chin. So it's very much in small stages of manipulating the paper into the shapes and positions we want it to be in. And even this layer, I'm getting a little gap that I don't want. So I'm going to try to squeeze it in like this, and then put it back. Like that. And lastly, what we want to do is give it a little turn like this. So I want it to be looking to the left a little bit, just like this one is. So just like this. And now we kind of have to get everything in that position before it dries. Now you might notice even I don't have enough fingers or hands to do all of this at once. So if you have something like a floral wire or some sort of wire, this is going to help you out a lot. You know, I've seen some people use tape, but just find some cheap wire or string or plastic. Anything, maybe not string, but something that won't soak too much. And use that to tie around the neck like this. And, you know, this may leave some wire marks, but because the neck is kind of out of sight, this is generally going to be okay. That way it can hold the neck in place in the position I want it to be in, like that. You know, maybe a little bit more. Like this. And now that that is out of the way, I can then hold this assembly and bring that in place over the helmet where I think it should be, and let that dry like this. And I think I need to add a little bit more methyl cellulose to this section so that the helmet actually will stay there where I want it to. I can add some more methyl cellulose along all these internal layers. And that way when it dries, it'll have its new paper memory in that area. And this wire is a little bit in the way. Actually, I'm going to tighten it like this. All right, I'm just getting the wire out of the way so I can grip it a little bit easier. I moved the wire, so I need to fix the neck. All right, now I can hold in place while I push the rest of the helmet down. The hard part is not messing up the rest of the helmet while you do this. So now just got to visualize the visor is going to be here. So the helmet needs to be this way. So I need to push the face into the helmet a little bit more. So I can grab the corners of the face, kind of where we put glue earlier, and try to push it into the helmet so that all these layers are hidden behind the back of the helmet here. And in the process, try not to squish the face too much. It's all very gentle and delicate as it's drying, basically, because we've put it in kind of a vulnerable position with the methyl cellulose by getting it all wet and stuff like that. So there's a lot of room where it can get messed up. And a lot of it's happening for me in this corner of the mouse. I'm going to try to grab some of these layers with my tweezers and pull it into a better position for the mouth. Kind of matches the other side. The other side actually kind of naturally pulled its own layers into a better position. There we go, something like this. Looks okay. All right, so there's the face looking a little bit better. Now we got the visor on top. And then pushing that whole assembly further into the helmet. Like this. And from here, I'm just going to hold this in place until it kind of dries and see what we had to fix later. And then keep shaping from there. All right, so that is all of the tutorial for now. Now I'm back to stream, so I'm going to read all of the chat, see what you guys had to say. But yeah, this is kind of how shaping tutorials go when you're doing wet shaping. We just kind of have to let this sit here and let it be for quite a bit. And I'm probably going to have to adjust some things to let it dry correctly. So let me get myself situated, and then I can kind of hold it in place while I read chat. All right, what do you all think? Let's see where I last left off. Looks like some of the India bros are talking to each other. Can't seem to find good source of Wenjo. What's up, Mark? Oh, what's up, Mark? Hello, hello. JP Origami, IN, Instagram, don't have. Brother, I'm Indian. Voice filming video, yeah. Yeah, filming video. We have a community there. Open an account. Best way to export origami. True. Behind the scenes, making paper. Cool, cool, cool. Kian, Mark shared crease pattern for. Yeah, Mark has a really cool design. We're going to be taking a look at it in a little bit. Starting back up again. Nice, nice, nice. This might get a little hard for you. We're talking about this design. This design is definitely very hard. Nice pencil. Thank you. A lot of emotes. What's up, Guillermo? Hello, hello. How will I cut the wire? Oh, I'm just going to unwrap the wire. This you don't have to cut the wire. Yeah. I've used this same wire for like 3 years or longer. So I just have one of this wire and I just keep reusing it. It's great. And it's not too tight on the neck, so it won't actually like grip. And then it's plastic, so it doesn't bind. If you use a metal wire, there is some risk of it like rusting into the paper. But yeah, you just kind of got to do what you got to do. Yeah, you can reuse it. Yeah, definitely. Mark, that's way more head shaping than I did on my Square Twist Samurai. Yeah, this one, I mean, this is more shaping than I did on that one, right? So Uh, yeah, I think there's gonna be. Yeah, I'm. How long ago was it that we did the square twist samurai mark? It's been quite a bit, so I've definitely learned some more shaping techniques. I'm trying to bring like what I've learned into this next tutorial. But man, it is difficult. Like keeping this all together. This head structure is crazy to shape. Like nothing really wants to stay put right now. I kind of remember the helmet shaping being like that when I did the first one, but like I think because I did more face shaping here, like a lot more got messed up as I'm trying to hold this in place. But at least I think the plan, like once this kind of dries, then I will do the horns again and then try to position the chin better. And then maybe squish it in the head a little bit more. But it'll take some time to get it into a position that actually looks decent. Because I remember that we didn't put enough neck mark in the design, so the neck is like very hard to make sure it doesn't drop too low and to make sure it doesn't get too thick. And I'm making sure I have this like mountain fold here as it dries so that it doesn't like start taking from the armor, which would look weird. I think somehow I got actually pretty lucky on this one when I shaped the neck. That it just worked out the way I turned it. So it kind of creates that line here, which gives a natural line to the armor. But in this one, I don't quite have that. What's up, Fizzy? Hello, hello. Welcome in. Thanks for watching the stream. Keen, what color should I make my paper? Well, red samurai is always pretty cool. This one I am actually gonna paint afterwards if I have time. So I'm just using the natural paper color as is. So it's not really a white. This is like it's close to white. It's like an off-white. There's a little bit of a yellow tinge. I don't know if you can detect that. But like maybe if I hold the bottle up, like this is a pretty stark white. You can see there is some saturation in this paper. Mark, I just squash everything and hold it 10 minutes or so. Stop moving. So the wire. That's funny. Oh, just in general? You just do whatever you want, dude. Whatever color you want for your paper. I have the urge to fold 1,000 cranes. I've never done that challenge, actually. That is like a challenge a lot of origami folders do. Because it's like the Senbaratsu symbol piece or something like that. But I've never done that challenge. I've folded a lot of cranes. Actually, I helped someone a little bit for their wedding. They wanted to have 1,000 cranes as a decoration. I folded maybe 10, but like that's it. I've definitely folded a lot of cranes in the past, but make good use of that wish cabinet. Yeah, Sadako. All right. I had a nice like shape here too. It kind of got messed up when I squishing this together. Yeah, like when I did this one, do you see how there has like these very neat pockets? I don't know how I did this, man. Like I thought I was being fairly gentle here, and it all just like crushed into one. But that's okay. It's a very small detail that maybe people won't realize. To me, it's like the first one was so good somehow. The second one I folded, I sold too. Also was I got the same. I got the same pockets. I don't remember how I did it. Very literally folded Sadako. Oh, I did. I did fold Sadako. Invention of the crane. Yeah. Okay. So I folded the girl, right? That people do that in honor of her. Um, it wasn't like it directly, but I think a lot of people interpreted it as that. Right. Let's turn my brightness up. Invention of the crane. Absolutely cursed crease pattern, by the way. But hey, it's pretty neat, Pretty neat design. Neat design topic or figure, I guess. Kind of a cursed design in technicality. I think you can push the pocket up with a brush or something. Yeah, the thing is, like, I would have to do it from the underside. But when I did this one, like, there's no room to push in on the underside. And I remember doing it afterwards too. Like, I somehow massaged the paper and held those pockets as I pushed everything into place. So I didn't have to go back underneath it. Also, like, with that gentle curve, man, in the back, like, oh, man, I don't know. I had to, like, I think I'm gonna have to redo this back section, which is okay because I think I did it afterwards anyways. Just make it like a bit more clean. But it's not bad, and again, I think it's a detail that no one is gonna notice really. Um, so it should be all right. I'm more concerned in this one about the face and just the overall proportion from the front. So like once I finish this section, I'm gonna have the horns close in a little bit more. I think and just flatten out. And basically, like as it's dried, because it's methyl cellulose, not glue, we're gonna be able to like peel some layers and open it up a bit to work on that a bit more. Now, this like the mouth kind of went away here, but I think I had a pretty cool mouth where basically normally there's like just the lip here, but I squash folded, like I spread synced the mouth down. And I think if I paint over it, it's gonna like really show. And it kind of looks like the more traditional samurai mask, where there's like a very aggressive looking mouth with teeth instead of just the line. So I hope that I can push that back out so that if when I paint over it, you'll be able to see it. It'll look pretty cool. I gotta like actually hold this in place when it dries. Found a stand. See, Keegan, you can do it, man. Good job. I knew there'd be somewhere, right? How did you get that model? Which one are you talking about? Complex origami models. Realms, is glass better surface than a cutting mat for treating double tissue? It depends. I think if you're able to get a big enough piece of glass, then it is. But for me, it was a lot cheaper to get a large cutting mat. And then you just have to like scuff the cutting mat so that the paper will stick. I've also had the case with glass where the paper sticks too much and it ruins, like you can't pick up the paper. And even if you wetten it a little bit, it'll like rewarp. So for me, I prefer cutting mat, right? But it's people have different opinions. You kind of just try and then figure out what you prefer. But for me, using a cutting mat, right, I just then cut the square on the cutting mat too. So I have a very easy pipeline, but doesn't work for everyone. Sadako tried to fold 1,000 cranes to stop her leukemia, but she folded 883. Yeah. If you move the horns closer, those pockets should extend. I think so. So yeah, maybe that's what I did. But yeah, I purposely didn't glue any of these horns yet so that I could adjust it once the actual helmet's in place. So we'll figure that out in the tutorial. Learning in the middle of the tutorial. Can you make a video on the face of it? What are you talking about? Complex origami models. You mean the face for this samurai? It's already in the tutorial. Don't worry. Obviously, you haven't seen that in the stream because I've worked on it. Wait, I think it was in the tutorial already released, right? Didn't I post it already? I think it's already in the tutorial on how to do the face. Yeah. It should. I think so. If it's not in that tutorial, it's in this one that I'm making right now. And obviously, like there'll be more to it once I finish this tutorial too. Like at least with the helmet combined. But the face structure itself is already in the tutorial. I made the green one to show in the tutorial on how to do it. Yeah, it's not too hard. I think it's the same face as the assassin as well. So I think it's in that tutorial too. Spoiler alert, yeah. Spoiler alert of a spoiler from like 3 years ago. Or not 3 years ago, like 2 years ago. So if I ever get good source of Wenjo, I'm gonna dye some sheets and send them to you. Oh, I've heard you've had some real nice dyed Wenjo, Silverio. That would be awesome, man. That'd be so cool. I'd be honored to fold with it. That'd be super lit. Okay, so I'm gonna do a trick really quick called using a hair dryer. I think it's set enough that like I don't have to put as much pressure, and if I hair dry it, it'll just help it dry a bit. Now, even though I used a hair dryer, oftentimes it takes longer for it to actually set and kind of stiffen. So even if it feels dry, it won't exactly be dry. So I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hair dry it so that I can let go of this, and then we'll do some origami review. And then once it's actually more dry, then we'll keep going. All right, I should probably do that for longer, but I think it's safe enough to let go. And we're just gonna very gently lay it on this paper block. And yeah, let it be. Okay. Realms asked, boys, do you think it's possible to make a full Ryujin 3.5 out of its test folds? Do you mean like fold test folds and then glue the test folds together into a Ryujin? I mean, technically you could do that with any origami model, right? But it wouldn't really be origami anymore because you're gluing separate sheets together. I think if you do all of the test folds, you can just fold the Ryujin regularly. You know what I mean? Like you've practiced all the parts. As long as you understand it, then you can just go and do the real thing. Should be okay. I know some people like to do Ryujin where they cut it in half and fold each half because like the middle section is just the big river of the body. But I don't like that. I think you should just fold it from the square. It's more fun. Sure, it might be a little bit more difficult, but like that's why you fold the Ryujin 3.5, right? You fold it because it's a challenge. That's what makes it fun. And I think a lot of people forget about that. They just think about the end goal and don't think about like the journey of folding Ryujin and understanding the model. They just want to say they like did it for some reason, but like they take the fun for themselves out of it, and it to me it's a little upsetting. That's my take. I think if you fold a Ryujin, just get good enough at Ryujin and all its test folds to just do it. You know what I mean? And it's like in that way, it'll probably turn into a better Ryujin because you didn't cheat yourself out of all the skills required to like understand what to do. Okay, let's switch over to here. We're back at Discord. We're gonna do a little bit of review. Before normally I go into Starboard. Before we do that, I said I would feature this in my stream. So right here, this is let's disable streamer mode. Fighting Extinction, right? Made a crane empty head. Or a crane head empty, where basically it's kind of the crane structure with the square head, square face out of it. I like this. I think this is very creative. This is such a niche thing to exist because of something I made and just smashing origami. So 10 out of 10 meme content, and people took it there. So it started with Butterfingers adding a face to it, which is really funny. And a lot of people just like kept adding to it. So now it's got arms and legs. and then like two sets of wings because it's a crane. Look at this. I'm fold maxing. My goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. Someone had a shark tail and a gat. That's and then and then a regular crane, like the crane head empty is folding a crane and something else. Really, really funny. But besides the meme, I think it was really creative that Fighting Extinction actually made this. Like, it's just like what a concept. Like, you have to be thinking creatively to just come up with, hey, I'm gonna put the head empty's head on a crane and execute it. So, shout out to Fighting Extinction. Not very nice and funny at the same time. I think that's pretty cool. I think next, let's go check out this. So we've got some members post to feature. So if you guys aren't familiar, if you join the um, Origami membership on my YouTube channel, you get access to this Discord, which is like the private Discord of all the members. And as you can see, if you're in the upper tiers of the membership, you get free diagrams to test for me. You get crease patterns released. You can see everything I'm working on and folding, as well as what other members are folding. You can ask for help, all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool. And at the same time, you can get your models featured and be part of the stream. So first up, we have Nara, who was actually working on the Square Twist Samurai. So we've got some stuff here. I think Nara's finished already, but this is when he was working on things. So I've done some initial leg shaping. No, it's not perfect. Appreciate advice on how to improve shaping of both hands and legs, how the fingers look. Fine. For some time, demonstrate wet folding technique, more custom to PVA. Okay, so I think like a few of these I'll be answering in the tutorial, which Nara knows is coming out. But we can have a quick look. I think these fingers are fine. I think these are actually better than the ones I currently have on mine. For my Square Twist Samurai, it's pretty janky, actually. Even this completed one. Like from one view, you can kind of see the fingers if it's in focus. But from like this area, you can't. And this other hand is even worse. Like I was really bad at hands back in the day. I've improved it a little bit on this, and I'm gonna just be like on the surface improving what the fingers look like. But I don't like this structure anymore for the hands. So I'm gonna talk about hands. Let me actually grab this guy, the Lost Guardian, because I came up with a different hand structure for a grip on like a sword. And this structure allows the fingers to be individually shaped a lot better because they're packed like this instead of being packed like that. Like on the samurai, they're all the fingers are stacked on top of each other, so you have to spread them, right? You have to spread them out underneath each layer, and each one gets thicker and thicker. Whereas in this structure, they're stacked more evenly, like some are to the side, some are on top of each other. So at most, there's only like 2 or 3 fingers that are really stacked on top of each other, but you can lay them out. Same thing with here. This one we have like 3 that are side by side, and you get a much more natural palm than the other method. So I think in general with fingers, the structure matters more than the shaping, but obviously the shaping can help. Um, but Nara did a good job, I think. Actually, I think they look good. Let's take a look at the legs. All right, so taking a different approach here, adding some own details. I like this creativity that Nara's doing. I think if anything, in my, which this is part of the tutorial too, my Square Twist Samurai, you can see I added, or I used some of the layers for more shapes in the shin guard. So if I rotate it, you can see there's more depth and dimension, as well as actual folds to give a heel and a calf, right? So I think most of the leg looks pretty good on Nara's, but if he wants to elevate it, he can do those small little tweaks. So like here, there's not much calf shown. It's more just like a straight line from the heel, and then it's kind of flat here, even though there's more detail in this area. So I think if he continues the like towards the knee. Sorry, I don't know if you could see that. So I was talking about here, the calf is kind of just straight. There's a lot of detail going on here, but not as much here. So if we can match that, then it'd be good. On this leg, it looks like it is more voluminous, right? But it's more so ankle and then lower leg. I think the lower leg can have even more shape into it. But yeah, looking good, looking good. Here we have Mark. Now, Mark's finished this. If you haven't seen it, go to Mark's Instagram and check out the finished schoolgirl. But Mark was cooking. This is like the test fold, or not the test fold. This is like before shaping. I mean, but it's crazy. You can see that Mark is individually getting the structured details first, and then doing the rest of the shaping. And if you look at the final result, it's absolutely insane. So go check that out. Mark, you can drop your own Instagram link if you want in the chat. Here we have Reza, who is folding the Miyamoto Reaper. Wow, this is really neat. From a white paper. Normally people go black and white, or just a black paper with white for the skull. This is kind of inverse, just using white paper and filling in the eyes. Really nice, really nice. This is a cool model where there's not a lot of pre-creasing actually in the sequence, but the sequence is incredibly difficult. So yeah, I haven't personally folded this model, so I don't exactly know how hard it is, but it is one of the longest diagrams in existence. I think this is really cool. I like the head tilt, and I like the cloth texture that Reza is trying to get here, especially like in this area and then up here. Finally folded to a level I'm satisfied with, but I'm struggling with getting photos. These are my latest attempts. Sheet of tie, unreal with a little tree in the background. Super not satisfied. And then here's some more close-up sort of details. We got the skull, some other angles, trying to hold it up. Something. It's pretty neat. Showing pictures, so super difficult. Yeah. Okay. So I think if Reza is asking for help on the photos, one thing I noticed, and I think this is taken with like a phone, a modern phone, because I've met Reza. I think Reza has an iPhone. So with an iPhone, Reza, I can give you some tips. To me, it looks like you might have a lamp and then your room light on. So like the lamp is giving highlight on this part of the model, but then the rest of your lights in your room is giving this orange in the back, and it kind of makes a lot of weird shadows. As you can see, we have omnidirectional or multi-directional shadows, when if you have a single point light, you would have just, one shadow, and it makes it a little bit easier to tell what's in context. Whereas when you have multiple things going around, it kind of just mushes the photo, and it's too distracting from the subject. So I would just turn off the room light, set your iPhone light lower. Okay, let me see if we can like replicate this. So I have a big light softbox going down on the table, and as you can see, my shadow for my hand is very soft. So if you're able to diffuse light with a lamp, that's the first thing to do. The second thing to do is, right, even if it's a bright light, get my camera app. Right. So it's kind of hard to see. But like you can lock your focus here and drag down the exposure and the brightness. You can see how that allows the light that's on top, right? It's just less exposed. You can have more focused light. And if you have your one directional light, you can do a lot of things with that. Have a darker background, especially if there's depth, right? This would be how you would get a photo like, let me see. Like this, where my background, sure, it was dark colored, but I made sure there was no other light like affecting in the back, right? It's all focused in on this. And then one last thing I think I could improve even in this photo would be to have some sort of backlight that's, again, diffused and very light, just in case it's too dark, but you don't really need that to get like a little bit of a better photo. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, Reza. Oh, here we go. Mark has the finished schoolgirl. Okay, this is the okay. Wait. Cooking and then finished. And then even here, so Mark has even a lighter colored background here, probably with some sort of paper as well, and it's colored, so it's not even like a dark background. But even still, with the lighting, you can see, right, the way it hits it. There's no interrupting shadows, and if there are shadows, they're very soft. So even around the girl, you don't really see her shadow much. That way, we can just like it's very obvious what the subject of the model is, and the background is like the very diffused, right? It's not interrupting anything. It's almost aiding your eyes to see the model more. That works. But yeah, it takes some practice on and whatever setup you currently have to like figure out what works. But just keep practicing a bit and seeing different lighting. Oftentimes you don't need that much light. Um, Room lights are generally really bad because they're warm like that. But yeah, very cool. Mark, this is awesome. This is awesome, by the way. Got the bangs, got the hair, so much detail. The school uniform to tie, structural pleats for the dress, and even like color change shoes, socks. Like, dude, it's really well done. The knees are looking good. Very nice. All right, let me see. Chat. Yes, finished folding the square twist samurai on September 21st. Wow, that was quite a bit ago. But design was finished more back in July. True. Boys, can you send me the Discord link? Complex origami model. I think you were in Discord before. I think something happened, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to send it to you again yet. Severio, it's a seal tail, I think, since it was drawn by a seal. Oh, that that was from the other thing. Kian, why you guys are so good? Why is chat so silent? That's a good question, but thank you. And yeah, the people in the Discord are pretty awesome. Severio, that's super cool. Super cool. Yeah, I think they're talking about the different models. Marks is super sick. Boys, you send a Discord link. Sorry. Cabinet, I've been here for so long. Severio, I love structured shaping. Yeah, structured shaping is really neat. Like you can tell, right? There's almost like an elegance to the details when they're structured like this. And Mark is really good at having structured details like this, as being one of the co-designers to the Square Twist Samurai. It's pretty awesome. All right, so enough for now of the member Discord. I don't want to like too much. There's a lot of awesome stuff in there in case you want to join though. But I think let's see. Last thing we can check out before we go, I think Shuki Kato. Yeah, this is. I don't have the other photos, but we can just take a look at this one. Shuki Kato is cooking. He designed this Stegosaurus in the past, but this is like a refold with a better paper. So I think this is Ogami. Just completed shaping. Shuki Kato's built different, man. What can I say? This is gorgeous. Talking about structured details. Crazy. I want the crease pattern. Did he release the crease pattern? I can't remember if he did yet or not. It might be on Facebook. Stegosaurus is insane. Yeah, it really is, man. Crazy. Okay. I think we can go back to. Let's take a look at how. Okay, it's quite a bit more dry. So I think from here, Stegosaurus is unpublished. Oh, okay. So maybe I've seen it and it was just from Shuki. Yeah. Well, it's tilted grid. I think that for that part, it's pretty obvious. So, that's funny. I only remember trying to reverse engineer. No idea if he's finished it. Oh, right. He's had like some pre-crease photos, so you could almost reverse engineer it. But it's, yeah, that's crazy. I live tilted grid. True, Silverio. You do cook at that tilted grid. I should try to do some more tilted grid. It is kind of fun. It's something different. Okay, I'm gonna continue with this tutorial. So we'll take a little pause from chat, but feel free again, keep asking questions. It's good stuff. All right, I'm now recording. 3, 2, 1, start. All right, so it's been some time and I'm feeling the layers and I think it's dry enough. A lot of times I'll actually just leave something like this overnight to dry just to make sure it's good to go. But in here, it's been maybe 30 minutes, maybe less, probably less. Depending where you live and how humid your climate is, could depend on how quick it dries. But we can take the wire off. And I'm just gonna maintain the wire. I've used the same wire for shaping for years. So if you have something like this, you can just reuse it. And as you can see, I didn't put the wire too tight, so there's actually not much biting into the paper, which is good. Wire bite's kind of annoying to deal with. Now, let's just observe the result of what we have at the moment and see what we need to improve from here. Because, like I mentioned, we had to do a lot of pushing, and part of the face is going to mess up when we get things together. But now that the neck is more solidified, we can fix some of the other things because those won't really mess up the neck. The neck is already set. So from this profile, the face is like concave, which is not good. So we're gonna have to do some work to flatten out the face and like maybe pull the chin into a better spot or push the nose in that way just to fix it. I think the profile actually from here looks okay, except we've lost our mouth. The profile from here, again, same problem. We have the concave issue, and because we lost a lot of chin, now the nose looks like way too big. But at least the eyes are generally okay. We just want to free this area a bit more. So that might involve just pushing this back further and pulling the chin down a little bit more too. So that's something we're gonna have to get done. I think the placement of the visor to the helmet is decent. I think it could go a little bit further, but we'll probably work on the horns a bit before then, which speaking of the horns, they are too far out to the side, right? They kind of look weird sticking out. Obviously, we didn't really shape them yet, but if we look at the other square twist samurai, they pull upwards and they curl in a little bit tighter. So we're going to want to try to match that. And then the back of the helmet, a lot of that kind of got mushed because we had to, squeeze so hard. But here, do you see how I have this nice like angled bevel? I was studying some samurai helmets and this is kind of how they sit a little bit. They have this kind of bevel type thing. So after things are more set, I think we can add this in. But we also need to make this pleat bigger. So I don't think this pleat is actually big enough and it's kind of unfolding quite a lot. So at least that is like very easy to fix. Right? I can probably do that right now. Just like increase it a bit more like this. And that should actually give us some more leverage for the helmet in general. And especially for that swivel fold that locks that layer together. Like this. And right, for now, I can kind of like mock in that crease for that little bevel by just connecting these points in kind of a curve using my finger. Some methyl cellulose did get into this portion, so I'm able to kind of do that, but we're going to have to do some more probably later as we keep shaping this. All right. All right. So I think the goal from here, let's work on these horns a little bit and then fix the face. So I think for the horns, I'm going to mostly use glue for this. And we have the structure that we folded from before. I'm going to unfold it a little bit just to reveal these layers. And I'm going to add PVA into those layers and let them stick. And we can be a little aggressive with how much glue we have in these because there's going to be a lot of tension, but the glue will help us shape it. All right, so let's refold this section. And I've unfolded like that portion, and now I'm going to add glue to that. All right, and then this is basically all these layers are folded in half. So let's let that stick a little bit. And then I'll fold it in half and then add some more PVA. Actually, I just kind of ghost creased it, and then I think I can add PVA from here. And then try to close this off. And pull it tighter into the face. I think I'm actually just going to have my other samurai a little bit closer to me so I can use it as reference to compare. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more glue here because this paper is creeping out a little bit. At the same time, starting to curve it up like that. All right, so that seems more intentional. I think it's still a little too far out. But let's do the other horn first, and then we can compare from there. So kind of same thing, just get some glue in these layers. And add glue to the top ones. Then we fold it in half. Pull it in a little bit tighter. Try to match the two horns together. Try to curve them in the same way too. And I'm kind of pushing the back of the helmet in just because some of the layers are starting to pop out a little bit. So I'm doing that way I can just get a good view of the helmet in general as I'm working on this. And then just trying to compare. All right, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Now the visor does probably have to come down a little bit like this. So I'm just trying to visualize like once I fix the visor, how will the rest of it be as well. Okay, so I think these are a good width now. We just need to get the curve to be a little bit more curved. Now, as you saw, I am very much eyeballing this. So I think here you're just gonna have to train your eye. You can use my photos from the other Square Twist Samurai as reference for quite a bit of the angle, or just like an actual samurai helmet. But they're like I'm not measuring like 30-degree angle for this tilt and then this much concavity. You're just gonna have to kind of eyeball and go from there. And that's gonna be how the shaping is. Now, one thing to notice is the other, or you might not notice this, but one thing to think about right now, I'm also trying to think about the distance between the eye and the top of the helmet, and I'm trying to make sure it makes sense. So I don't want the top of the helmet to be too tall because then it looks like our samurai has a massive forehead, and that's generally not very aesthetic. I'm also trying to make sure that the helmet isn't too low where it looks like the head is chopped off, right? Because then that just doesn't make sense either. So I think from this point, it's I'm just trying to find where, compared to like what a real helmet would kind of be like, if it's a good distance. And I think this is about a good distance from the eye level to the top of the helmet. So from there, I'm gonna let it sit, and I think I'm gonna want to let this dry before I start messing around with the rest of the face, because yeah, I don't want to mess up as I'm working a lot of layers, and I think I'm gonna have to be working a lot of the layers here to get it to look correctly. The other thing to note is from this angle, the neck looks crazy like this, right? Like this doesn't look good. That's okay. Basically, what's going to happen is I've made sure to try to get a mountain fold on the edge of where the armor is, so it might be a little bit hard to see, but with the neck here, right? I'm kind of pushed it like this. And so that's going to drop the neck down quite a bit and connect our shoulders to where the neck should kind of be too. And the combination of that should fix our neck problem. But I haven't done it yet because I want to fix the chin and everything before that happens. But in case if you're thinking about that, we'll get to it. Don't worry. But overall, small progress at a time for the face. It's looking pretty good. This is a very difficult section of the shaping. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna let this dry and then we'll come back. All right, so we are back from that. How's it going, guys? Maybe I'll leave this up. Let's see. What did I miss in chat? Silverio and Mark are talking about stuff. STS equals Stegosaurus? That's funny. That's good. Mark's answering Kian. Modus of the armor is called Squirtus because, yeah. So jealous of those that got to see a crease pattern. 100% would have folded it. Silverio asked him before about new Rhino, but answered no. Don't want to be annoying. That's fair. Folded all his tilted grid models. His horse is probably the most complex I've done. Done it like 3 times. Wasn't quite happy with shaping. It's actually really good. Totally should finish folding it. Okay, to make paper, you can use 1:4 ratio glue to water instead of MC. I think someone commented that. I think Complex Origami Artist commented that in one of the videos. Less glue, more water. Yeah. Play around with that ratio. So Vera, it's laying in a box somewhere around my house. Might get some Ogami and refold it. Sounds good. Ogami seems to work well with Shuki Kata models, as Shuki also uses it quite a bit. Silverio, did you get to meet Shuki in the past? I can't remember if Shuki attended the Chicago convention or not. I think he is doing a convention actually in Chicago, not the Chicago convention, but one hosted by Chaos. I think he's going to be there in November, or not November, early December. I was actually supposed to go there too, but I could not make my schedule work for that. So I might send some models to get displayed at the exhibition, but I won't be able to attend. But I think it's Shuki Kato and Beth Johnson. That should be pretty fun. Guillermo asks, boys, if one paper is a gold red duo, how would you handle the lights using an iPhone 15 Pro Max? Good question. So I actually have an example of that on my Instagram somewhere. I don't think the photo's very good, but I had a red and gold model. Let me see if I still have it. Okay, I don't have it, unfortunately. So yeah, gold is tough because sometimes it looks shiny like this, and it could disrupt things. Other times it could look like really dark. But with iPhone 15, pretty good camera. In general, should be okay. I think one problem iPhones might have is sometimes contrast with gold on a depending on what the background is. Actually, this is pretty okay, but sometimes it can like wash out saturation or it makes it look weird depending on what the background is. But I think still the general principle of having um, a singular light with that background will just help in general. So actually, right now I have my room lights on. So I want you guys to pay attention to the difference between how my room looks like this, or I turn off the lights and it's like this. Very, very small change, probably. But if anything, there's more fill. It's just like a little bit cooler, not a weird warmth in the background. And then things like this, the saturation will just work a little bit better with a softbox instead of harsh light. Um, even still, like I could probably improve this. And this webcam I'm using is not very good. But if I were to take a photo with like this camera or even with my iPhone, the effect would be a lot better in this scenario than to take it with all that extra light in the background. Hopefully that makes sense a little bit. Uh, I'm basically just leaving my light on right now as I'm filming the tutorial, so my eyes don't burn out when I'm looking outwards and seeing like the result of my big softbox and everything. That's why my light is on right now. Ace Pilot commented that. Oh, that was Ace. Okay. I've not met him yet. You really? It's like 3 hours from me, but still might. Hey, yeah, that might be a good chance because Shuki doesn't always go to events as often, so that might be a good. And I think it's Shuki Kato. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Silverio in the members Discord. I think I'll drop the flyer if in fact checked for that for you. I know for sure Beth Johnson, I think, is the other guest because it's supposed to be me and Beth. But yeah, I'll let you know. Okay, what's the GSM of wrapping paper? It's 70 centimeter, bought from Kmart. I don't know. It's pretty thin though, right? Maybe like 30. It's not very strong though. I don't think. What models can I make with it? Anything You probably make anything with wrapping. I've done some stuff with wrapping paper. I will say insects are not very good because generally, if you have pleats with all the legs, right, it's a lot of layers, and then when you try to fold it in half, I don't know, but this is like I guess even like if this model, right, if I were to fold this flat over all these flaps and try to push down to fold it in half, it's gonna rip this seam right here, right? And wrapping paper, it's a little bit weaker than, or it's around the strength of Kami, maybe a little bit weaker, but it will definitely like explode the paper. So insects probably not good. Mammals probably will work because they generally don't have as much, or you can round them out a little bit better. But I don't know if you have access to Kmart. I assume you live in America, and I think there's better papers that you can buy. Go check out my website and paper resources, or watch my ultimate paper guide to make it yourself. But that is my advice. Guillermo, there's a link to the photo I posted. Try to redirect a single. Okay, let me see. Let me see what you're working with, Guillermo. How much origamis do you have a camera? What model is the camera? This is a Sony Alpha 7. A7 4? Yeah, I think it's a Sony Alpha 7 4. It's nice. I will say it's very nice. But I got it on quite a discount. I don't know if I talked about it on stream before. I did some credit card magic as well as using it as a business item to get some tax write-off potentially, and also a lot of credit card points and discounts using my own Amazon affiliate account as well as an affiliate purchase. So let's see here. Where did you DM me, Guillermo? Where'd you send this to me? Or did you post it in the chat? I don't think links will show up in the chat. Guillermo, you can maybe DM me on Instagram so I can see the photo. You really shouldn't fold wrapping paper. Yeah, I wouldn't fold wrapping paper. Do you treat wrapping paper? No, no, I don't think so. Yeah, if possible on Realms, I wouldn't use it. That's just like honestly from a very experienced origami artist, and then also hearing from Silverio, who's a very good folder and very experienced with paper and treating papers. Probably more experienced than me even in that realm because he dyes colors. Uh, try to find something else maybe. Is it Canon or a Nikon? It's a Sony. I've met Beth at KoCon. Super nice. Yeah, Beth is awesome, man. Beth is a great guest at a convention and just an awesome person in general, and really neat designer. She's so fun to hang out with. Anu, whenever I use Unryu, the paper becomes limp. You should probably increase the methyl cellulose that's in your mix. Unryu does become limp, but with enough methyl cellulose, it becomes very strong. This guy, Lost Guardian, is with Unryu. And, you know, at the thinnest points, yeah, it became a little bit limp, right? At the tip of this sword. There's not much I can do with that. But in general, right, you can get it to get pretty stiff. Like, this is pretty stiff. Now, to be fair, I did put a lot of paint on it, but it was still relatively this stiff. With, like, this leg doing this thing, that's because of methyl cellulose. That's not because of the paint. That's because of the methyl cellulose I put right there. That now its memory is no longer limp. It's a very, very structured and sturdy pose. So. Oh, hello, Como. Wrapping paper tends to crack. Yeah, it'll. I like to say it explodes. is a fun way to put it. Mostly because like you've been working on a model for maybe an hour, and then once the seam like breaks, if emotionally you might explode too. But it feels like the paper just like actually exploded everywhere. Use baking paper. That's my favorite paper for yeah, baking paper, wax paper. I think yeah, depending where you are, it's either called baking paper or wax paper. That stuff can work. I have another friend named Mark, not the Mark in, or I guess there's two friends named Mark, two very advanced folders named Mark that successfully use baking paper. Archangel Michael was folded from baking paper. That's crazy. So you can do some of the highest level of origami with baking paper. Complex the emotional damage when you do so hard in origami on the tear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wrapping paper will probably lead to that. All right, one second. I'm gonna turn my other light back on because I think we can start working on the tutorial again. Butter paper. Okay, yeah, butter paper is I think also the other word for it. I think mostly I've heard that from India, them calling it butter paper. Also from Thailand and the Philippines. They I think it's called butter paper there. Speaking of Mark, I folded your crucifix but never photographed it. Nice. You should photograph it so you can show Mark. Fawad Azimi, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy. All right, so let's go back to here. I'm gonna make sure I drink some water before I talk for another 15 minutes in this tutorial section. So videos should post more often. True. I usually give the models I really like away. That's why you should take photos of them and post them. So you can still have a copy of it digitally, right? Okay, I'm trying to think of the game plan for the tutorial. This is a little bit stuck. So this just really needs to push upwards or push back. I think the face is gonna push upwards the layer like that. And that's just gonna sit in. Okay, so it's gonna be a combination of pushing the face further back and shifting the chin up a little bit. I think I still won't get as much of a result I like, but I think it'll be good enough for the tutorial. Okay, and then the other thing we're gonna do is probably add more methyl cellulose here. Squish down the helmet. Probably tie the neck back up and let it dry longer. Otherwise, I think we're doing pretty good. I think I need to even out the pleat a little bit on this side. Okay, I think that's the game plan for the tutorial. Wondering if this is okay. I think maybe I'll glue this back later or add MC to it. But yeah, okay, push this back. All right, I think that's the plan. Jared, Will, what's this? Yo, what's up, Jared? So I am like filming the tutorial while live streaming at the same time. So people kind of get to see the behind the scenes of how I'm putting together this tutorial a little bit. And then while like I'm wet folding it, right? So I'm using a mix of like PVA and MC. So each one takes some time to dry. And as it's drying, we chat. We were talking about stuff. So earlier we like reviewed like Shukikado's Stegosaurus, some stuff from the Discord. But now I'm kind of thinking I'm ready to film for the next part, and I'm just making my game plan of what I should say and what I should do for the next part of the tutorial. Did Guillermo DM me? Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I missed that. Guillermo sent link with red gold paper. Okay, let's see. Ah, okay. So this is hard, I think, because you're taking it top down, right? So either way, the light, if it's direct on the surface like this, is going to cause that weird reflection. Honestly, I don't exactly know what the best way to take this photo would be for you. Maybe you want to diffuse your light a little bit more, or trying to add depth to the background. Maybe this is a question Jared can help with. Jared, because you've done some 2D flat fold stuff like this. What would be the better way or a good way to photograph something like this? But yeah, this kind of photography, I am not sure, unfortunately, Guillermo. But hey, it's a cool fold. I like the color change. Shiny really hurt. Yeah, shiny is tough. Shiny is really hard. Stick it in a picture frame. Do you think the glass will help with the reflection, or will the glass itself reflect? Not too sure. That's the Miwu Bat coin. That's a cool model. What's better, glassine or baking paper? Ooh. I've only felt glassine. Glassine's really thin. I've heard it's not the most fun to fold with. Um, Glass won't help with reflection, but I see. I see. I'm not sure, Como. I think baking paper is more regularly available to people, but I've also seen Alessandro Beber's work in person, which is like almost all from glassine, and it's absolutely incredible. So I think for someone who's less experienced, baking paper would be great because you can just test fold anything. But then someone looking for, you know, and this is more for tessellations, but Alessandro also folded a centipede out of the glassing, and it looked pretty good. I think, if you have a good model that's would use kind of the translucency well, then glassing would be great. But yeah, I've heard it's not the easiest to work with. So, so for a beginner, they might feel a little frustrated trying to reverse creases and stuff like that. Mark gave me a stack of baking paper. Yes, Mark with a C and then Mark with a K, both using baking paper very well. Yeah, I'll take you up on that, Jared. I'll take some of that baking paper. Yeah, I still haven't really found a good use of glassine, so I've never tried folding it. But I do have, you know, the Blick sells some pretty thin glassine. Complex under folds. Yeah, okay. Okay, we're gonna go to the tutorial now. So I'm not gonna be able to respond to chat for just a little bit, and then once I set things to let it dry again, I'll answer all your questions. So feel free to keep asking, and some people in chat might be able to answer questions too. We've had some good interaction with Severio's answering questions, Mark's answering questions, and now Jared's here, so that's lit. Okay. Recording. 3, 2, 1, start. All right. So this is a bit more dry, a bit more set now. So I think we can go to the next section of what we can do to improve our face. Again, our problem is kind of the concavity of our face and the lack or the loss of some of our chin. I think what will be good to do is to push the top of the face more into the helmet. That'll both help its positioning in the helmet and it will prevent like the weird nose mouth concavity. And that's just gonna be what we can do with how the layers are ordered as well. We can do a small thing with how the paper layers are ordered with our chin. And that's also by just pushing it up a little bit. So we can't quite drag it too much down because there's actually not a whole lot of space underneath based on what we had done for the neck. But we can push it up a little bit. And when we push it up and push the face backwards, it's going to align the mouth a bit better so we can see some more of those details again. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some PVA into the back of the cracks in these folds, at least for the top area. That way, when I push back this way, it'll stay. The other thing I'm going to do, I think I don't even need glue for the bottom section, or at least I don't want to glue it. So I can adjust it, but I can just like very gently push on this crease to raise it up a little bit and push it into the neck. And then the other thing that I think will help is getting this side profile of our helmet into a better shape. So right now it looks kind of awkward because it's puffing out the back quite a bit. Now if I show the side profile of this samurai, you can kind of see it's still not the best, honestly, but there is some more cover and some more depth of where the head kind of is, as well as the direction of where the helmet is facing. So in order to do that, we basically have to drop this a little bit and push in more of these layers together. And that's just going to be some more methyl cellulose, compressing the layers and letting it dry for longer. And then once we do that, this will kind of set on top like this. And that's going to be a bit better of proportions. So let's start with the PVA. Got our glue here. And I'm just going to take a little bit and add it to those sections. Let's talk. Okay, that is probably too much. A little bit. Feed it into top area here on both sides. Like that. And I think because we're gonna be pushing this in with each other, I'm also gonna put the MC in the back of the head because by compressing it, we're kind of doing two things at once. All right, and then from here, feed some more methyl cellulose into the neck area, especially in these layers that are kind of popping out. And I think ultimately, in order for these layers to not pop out as much, I'm gonna have to let it dry for a lot longer of a time. So I'm gonna replace the wire where it can help hold things in place. And then we'll probably leave it there overnight. But we'll see if we can still work on some things while that wire's in place. Hopefully it doesn't block us too much. It might just keep the helmet lifted up a little bit, but we can close the helmet down later. Okay, so from here, I'm pushing the top of the face in a bit further and then pushing the back of the layers for neck down all at the same time. Like that. Make sure I'm not squishing anything I'm not supposed to. That should hopefully align the face a little bit better. Yeah, I'm trying. The hard thing is I'm trying not to squish the face too far that way. So we don't want that either. But getting it to a spot where I can apply pressure to the correct areas. Get what we want. And I think maybe right there is going to be good. And I am going to probably have to hold that in place for a bit, let it dry correctly. But before I do that, let me actually rewrap the wire and then just hold the face. Rewrapping this wire, making sure it goes under the chin, doesn't affect our chin. There you go. And find a position where I can push on the face comfortably like this. All right, so I'm gonna hold it here, let it dry, and we'll come back later. All right, so I'm gonna reach out while I'm holding the face here because I think you gotta like get it really locked before I move on. That's the other hard part about making tutorials is sometimes you just gotta like hold it in place. You know, when I'm folding my own models, a lot of times I'll just hold this in place and watch like a YouTube video. So like 30 minutes will pass by with me holding it. When I'm like actually trying to film a video, though, it changes because I want to keep working on the video, but I actually have to wait. And so it adds time to, the time I would have to film. Makes it kind of hard. Complex origami models. Got the Discord invite link. Okay, make sure to follow the rules this time around. This is probably your third chance. But yeah, just read those rules, be respectful, enjoy the Discord. All right, so we're gonna be stuck here for a little bit as I'm holding the, the face in place. It's all good, Silveria. Normally, I post the link to the Discord publicly as well. And it's up to the other people if they if they break a rule, they'll get kicked out. So it's all good. It's not on you. It's not on you. I think it'd be nice to have a public Discord link. It's just hard for the mod team sometimes because like a lot of bots will come in or like kids who are not 13 yet, and it's pretty obvious if they're not 13. All right, it's looking a little bit better from the side. I think you could just leave it like this. Potentially, we can work on the second leg in the tutorial if I want to keep working on the tutorial. That might be a good idea, actually. or I'm gonna like pre-glue some of the things to support the second leg, and then everything can just wait to dry. Let's try that, and actually that might be the end of the stream because I'll just have to let everything dry and then wait to tomorrow, or like I say tomorrow, but realistically I'm gonna be working on origami from like 2 to 4 a.m. So in like 6 hours I'll come back and keep filming the tutorial. All right, but let's get this last bit of the tutorial out of the way, and then we'll do maybe some fun stuff and then go from there. You know, while we were waiting, I did have planned to play Monster Hunters, but I don't think we have time for that. I was gonna play a little bit of Monster Hunters because the next game is going to come out in February, I think, and I want to make some Monster Hunter origami content just because I think it works well together. You know, some of the monsters and some of the armor sets are really cool. The one I'm wearing actually inspired the DPA a little bit, and I didn't get into the Capcom creator program, unfortunately. I think I need just more subscribers. You know, 21K isn't enough. I think once if I hit 100,000, then it'd be good. Not happening anytime soon, from my point of view, but you never know. But it doesn't hurt to just make content anyways, and then use that in my next application if they like it. But I do want to mix some content with that game. I think it'd be pretty fun, and then I'll be playing it a lot. I probably won't stream it on the YouTube channel, but I'll stream it on Twitch and just try to do a bunch of stuff. And then if anyone else watching like plays, that'd be cool. Any other Monster Hunter origami fans, you know, I'm down to hunt together. But for now, we're gonna finish off this tutorial. Boy should start gaming. I've always gamed, dude. But I think you know, I've done a lot of the Honkai Star Rail content. I think that sort of phase of my origami plus gaming content is coming to a close. I think I've reached as far as I could into that lane, and now I'm kind of just getting pushed away, which is fine. And I'll pivot to something else, see what's exciting. But yeah, I'll maybe that discussion, my strategy for what content I want to make and how I integrate my hobbies, that can be a different stream. We could probably talk for another few hours on that. All right, let's get this last bit of the tutorial out of the way, and we'll be good to go. I'm mostly using the PVA for this one. All right, we're gonna record. 3, 2, 1, start. All right, so I know I just said I was gonna let this dry, but thinking a little bit ahead, I think we can add glue that will be like pre-rec for later shaping and let it all dry together so we can save some time. And a lot of that will actually be in this leg down here, right? We've kind of already pre-glued the left arm, so I think that's fine. And it's a little too close to the head, but what's safe is this leg. Now, we've already done one leg, so this will be, you know, pretty familiar. But if you remember, if we reach underneath the legs, we have these layers underneath where there is a flap above. And I got to be kind of gentle on this, right? Oh, you know, I think we actually already pre-glued some of these. Looks like I did. I'm going to do it a little bit more. As you can see, there is a little bit of a gap here. So I'm going to pre-glue what I have missing just a little bit better. And then what we didn't do on this side is pre-gluing the top part of the leg. So we're going to pre-glue the top part of the leg as well. And actually, now that I think about it, we could also pre-glue the back of the waistcoat a bit. So we've done it on this side, but we can add it to the inside layers here and then this outside layer right there. We won't do anything over here yet because we need this to shape the hip joint, but at least just like this flap here, we can secure it. So let's go ahead and do that. First, I'm going to start by adding some to the parts I kind of missed in the leg down here. and some to the top over here. There's another area that wasn't quite glued enough. And it feels soft if it's, the glue will help stiffen up the paper so we can get some better shaping. Add that. Go side to the leg. And then I'm going to add it up here in this pocket. Oops, I got some glue right there. We're going to try to get it off without any residue. Okay. Let's get a little bit more on the inside. All right. Just like this. All right, and the last part to add some PVA for pre-gluing is in the back waistcoat here. So we will add some to the inside of these layers. There's like total of 4 layers here. We don't need to get too much in the inside ones. I think as long as we get in the middle, should be okay. And then the central ones over here, just to close it out. And this will help stiffen the back of the waistcoat so we can kind of curve it a little bit outwards to add some volume. There you go. And then we just need to kind of press these down. And that will assist us in stiffening the paper for when we then get to this section. And all of this should be able to dry together for when we come back, which for me will be in about 6 hours. I think we're going to give it 6 hours to set before we do any more shaping. And that will surely give our neck enough time as well. All right, so we're just going to leave it there for 6 hours. I recommend that you leave yours for a good amount of time too, if you're following along. And we'll be back when it's dry. All right, I'm back. That's the rest of the tutorial there. What's up, Yoni? How's it going, man? Sorry, the stream is like me making a tutorial at the same time. So that's what that part was. But thank you for joining in, man. Good to see you. I'll be in Arizona in a few months, and we can trick. I just got Cork Swing Cork. I don't know if you have that. I know if you like Full Swing. I don't know, maybe we can sync something. Smoothie, hello. How are you even making that? Very slowly, very, very slowly. But the full tutorial will be out sometime this week, right? I'm going to be finishing up. This is this is the 4th part. So there's 3 tutorial videos out already, and the 4th video will be done this week. And it'll take you from your square paper into ideally that. So it's Shuki and Beth. They're coming to Schaumburg early December. Oh, okay, sweet. Is that closer to you? I don't know the landscape of Chicago much, or the surrounding cities. So yeah, I hope you can make that, man. That sounds really cool. Because I think it'd be neat for you to meet Shuki in person for being so good at his models. Let's see, one of my biggest flexes is only Origami Fire Dragon by Cade Sharon. Hey, that's a cool one, man. I also love the Fire Dragon. I made quite a few of those when I was younger. I don't know if I have one on hand anymore, but I used to have like a really tiny one. If you scroll super far back in my Instagram, you'll see it. Like an hour away. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, that sounds exciting, Silverio. It sounds like, yeah, an hour commute for a convention over the weekend doesn't seem too terrible. All right, so I think that is kind of all I had planned for this stream. Again, I'm still going to be working on this tutorial. Expect it sometime next week when I get the chance. And then for next week, there won't be a stream, I don't think, because I will be at Origami. So, Origami Convention at MIT. I'm actually arriving on Thursday. You guys know Plant Psychologist. I mention him all the time, but he's killing social media. Absolutely. I think we have some videos planned for that. I'm going to bring some models. Special guest there is Bodo. We're going to get some interaction between me, Bodo, and Plant. That should be really cool. It's Plant's first time meeting Bodo. So that'll be really neat. And yeah, I'm actually there for almost a longer time than I'm normally at a convention, especially since Origami is just one day. So there might be some content outside of the convention as well. Feel free, hit me up if you have ideas that you want to see between me, Bodo, and Plant. I know we're all gonna fold something together. Like that's already done. But if you have anything else you want, any questions you want me to ask Bodo, or models you want to see, stuff like that, any ideas, let me know either in the comments of this live stream or send me a DM. Comment in one of the, probably this live stream is going to be easy for me to collect. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you got a little bit insight onto, what it takes to make tutorials like this. I know the shaping tutorial isn't exactly like a regular tutorial. But yeah, it's different view on how to do YouTube stuff. Might be interesting to some people. I don't know. I think we got to still talk about some cool stuff, see some cool origami. That's not the origami. That's the origami, right? Check out Shuki Kato's new design. A lot of fun. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which is the samurai tutorial. All right, guys. Ask Bodo when he'll fold my griffin. Okay, sure, for sure, Mark. I got you. Got you. All right. Goodbye, guys. And it looks like, I'll miss you, Silverio. It's too bad I won't see you at Origami, but all right. Have a good one.